Welcome to the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. If you don't know me, Carla's my name. This one I'm actually going to bring very close to home, and I'm actually going to talk about something that has happened. And this thing that's happened has shifted my whole entire perspective. Little disclaimer, my voice, I know I sound sick and I'm still not 100% well because I have actually been sick in this week. But yeah, the last month has been intense. And when I say intense, I mean like the universe has, in its own way, been amazing. But I have just been going through it. And one of the things that just so happened to have had to happen that has taught me the most valuable lesson. And I just need to get this across. So I'm just literally going to cut straight into it. Today, I want to talk to you about why taking life so seriously can literally be the reason as to why that thing isn't working out for you. I will be getting very vulnerable, but it is required for me to be vulnerable because this is one of the things that I've learned out of this scenario. But I will be talking about how you can also integrate my learnings into your own life and how you can also start to live in a much higher vibrational state. So, the question for today's episode: have you ever wondered why the harder you try, the more the thing you so desperately want seems to slip further away from you? So basically what happened, I was in a car accident and this could have been fatal, but luckily no one was injured except obviously the cars were written off. Now what happened was I was in the passenger seat in my friend's car. They just didn't see the car coming. Simple mistake. These things happen. But unfortunately in this scenario, my friend didn't see the car and pulled out in front of the car. Luckily, the oncoming car saw us pull out in front of them and hit their brakes instantly, which was one of the reasons as to this could have gone so much worse, because if they didn't see, they would have driven into us in, around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. So it would have been a lot worse because we were in the middle of the road. We, by force, just got pushed into another car on the other side. There was not that much damage on the right-hand side of the car compared to obviously being fucking T-boned. But yeah, so both sides were damaged and there was 3 cars involved in the accident. Very horrific experience, especially when you're the one seeing the car coming into you. Like, I was like, oh man, that was honestly such an experience. But in that moment, the person that was driving the car saw the airbag implode onto me, saw the door get pushed, saw us get moved because my eyes were closed. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, okay, I went through something traumatic as well, but like, fuck me. Can you imagine seeing all of that happening? Like, yeah. Anyway, so it was just an incident, right? And it doesn't sound as bad because nothing horrific has happened. But honestly, there were so many things that could have gone wrong because where it hit was sort of in the middle of my door and then like where the front wheel is. So that panel there pretty much saved my life. But if that car didn't hit that panel and it went into my door, like it literally would have, it would have gone into me 100%. Secondly, another lucky event, the car that went into us was a tiny old school Suzuki Jimmy. Have you seen them? They are so tiny. So again, if this was a 4-drive or a truck, again, different story. And the third thing that happened was, luckily, my friend just recently bought this car. The car that they had previously was an older car. So literally that car would have not had a side airbag. And that side airbag literally went off and it also saved my life. So honestly, there's so many things that could have gone wrong that didn't. And the thing that I've realized out of this experience wasn't until well after the event, because as everyone would understand, adrenaline is real. And I was in such an adrenaline rush that I couldn't really process much other than the event itself. It was maybe until the next following morning when I was driving. I really didn't want to drive, but I was driving. If I have a question, I would just ask the universe, what's going on? And then my intuition would guide me through it. And when I was driving, I was just like, universe, like, what the fuck was that? What was that? Why did I go through that? That was such a weird event. Everything else about that day was weird, but that event itself, it just felt weird, like as if that was meant to happen. And I was just thinking, and I was like asking the universe, like, what's going on? Why did that happen? And it literally, the realization of it just hit me in my face. And it was like, Carla, you could have died. It could have been so much worse. Why the fuck are you taking life so seriously? Taking life seriously is literally the emotion that takes away creativity. And we all know this by now. To be able to live in a high vibrational frequency, you need to operate from the heart, which emanates creativity. So being serious literally takes that away. And I realized, yeah, it's great to have goals, and yeah, it's good to have aspirations and all of these things that you want to achieve in life and do good and have a goal. It's great to always be working on yourself and making yourself a better person so that everyone that interact with you have a joyful experience. Yeah, that's great. But why do it in a serious matter? Because that is one of my biggest downfalls. I take life very seriously. And I know this, but I didn't know how much I did until I was face front with death, basically. And I came to that realization of, what's the point of living if you're always going to be in the space of lack, of always trying to achieve the best, and you're not celebrating the thing that used to be the best, but is no longer the best because you've already achieved that. So you're always just thinking about the best next thing, but forgetting that you've already reached the best next thing a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, a year ago, whatever. But that thing's no longer the best next thing because you've already reached it. And it's good to have that mindset of continuous growth, but we need to celebrate life in the same sense as working to achieve better. This took me down into such a massive rabbit hole. And I thank my best friend for this, because after I had this realization while I was driving in the car, I called her and I was talking to her about it. And before this whole accident, I actually have been talking to her about something that's very close to me that I've been wanting to do, but I never just really had the power really to do the thing that I've said I wanted to do. And as I was talking to her about it, I was like, nah, not going to do it. I do not give a shit. Life is meant to be experienced, and life is just meant to be having fun. I should not be stressing over something, like all of this sort of shit. The ego was like fighting against the thing that I wanted to do because I thought it was just, I need to have fun and experience life. And then as I was saying this, it was like the universe, myself, my intuition, like I'm getting goosebumps saying this right now. It was like another slap in the face, and it clicked. And I was like, hold up. No. I'm going to do the thing that I said I wanted to do. Because who gives a shit, right? Life's meant to be having fun. Why take it so serious? Do the thing, even though you know the outcome is probably not going to happen the way how you want it to happen. It could happen in so many other avenues. Could be positive, could be negative. It doesn't matter. But as long as you do what you want to do, regardless of the outcome, you are only then going to be in a state of living, in a state of creativity. You are going to operate from your heart and not from your head. Because honestly, there's one thing. I've been living with this thing for years, right? For years that I've dealt with this thing internally within myself, literally going through the motions of, no, I can't. Oh, I want to. No, I can't. And it's just back and forth. And it's been years of me going back and forth within myself, convincing myself alternatively every single time. And it is so funny because generally when you want to do something, but you're scared of the outcome, the anticipation of the thing is the thing that is the hardest from actually doing the thing. For example, I wanted to do this, but for years I've been telling myself, do you really want to? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Going back and forth, right? That was the hardest thing. Me doing the thing that I wanted to do was actually very fucking easy because my mindset shifted from this is hard to who gives a shit? Just do it. Like, it is so crazy how powerful your mind is because, yeah, I've literally been living in a cage for all these years and I finally done the thing and I am so fucking proud of myself for doing that and speaking my truth. Like, I should do another episode about speaking your truth, but because I can really go into this in such depth, but speaking your truth, regardless of what you think may or may not happen, you're taking away from yourself if you don't speak your truth. You're making yourself smaller. And that is not operating out of divinity. That is operating out of scarcity. And I want you to take this lesson and apply it to your own life. What are the things that you are too serious about that takes away the playful nature, that takes away the curiosity, the creativity, that instead of feeling, I want to do something, you're feeling, oh, I have to do something, right? Where is that? Apply that to your life and make that shift. Because if you are not operating out of the space of I want to do something instead of I need to do something, you're already taking life too seriously. You're not living. I know I'm still uncovering a lot more from this experience, but so far, this is what I've learned. And I just really wanted to tell everyone about this because this is such a traumatic experience that I've taken and turned it into such a powerful movement to literally catapult me into the right direction. And it is just so easy to forget that tomorrow is never fucking promised because we have woken up every single morning after going to bed the previous night with the expectation that we're going to wake up because we have done this for our entire life since we were born. So it's so easy to forget what a blessing it is to wake up the next morning, to take that next breath, to take that next step, to talk to that next person. Everything that happens in our life, it is such a blessing to experience it. Life is not meant to be taken seriously, guys. We need to take it like as in, I could die. Am I living in my true purpose? Am I living authentically to myself? Are you? Ask yourself that question. Write it down. Get your journal out. Ask yourself, where am I not living authentically to myself? What am I saying I want to do, but finding the excuses for not doing? Be in a playful, creative nature. Children are a really great example for this because that's all they've got, because they haven't lost sight of that. That's all they know. That's their universe. What is the next thing to play with? What is the next thing to have fun with? And when we embody that childlike instinct within ourselves, life is honestly going to be so magical. Experiencing something so negative is actually something so positive, because you get to experience a negative. And like I've said in previous episodes, we don't know how a positive feels if we don't know how a negative feels, because you need to experience the negative to be able to differentiate what a positive is to a negative. So we have to have both ends. It's literally the yin and the yang, right? We live in the polar opposites, masculine, feminine. We need to have both to live in unity. It's just one of those things. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Become a kid. Act like a child, obviously with maturity, but just awaken that inner child within yourself. Especially for my divine feminines listening to this episode right now, because the next part of this is what I've integrated into my feminine nature. I think this can be applied to males as well, but I'm just speaking from a feminine nature because obviously I am a feminine, and this is just my own learnings from what I've uncovered. So 6 things that I have taken out of this experience. And this is what I've done after I woke up. 1, start playing it safe. Because when we play it safe, we look for all the negatives instead of the positives, right? So is that positive reinforcement that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Number 2, and I know this sounds a little silly, but this is drawing back from the childlike nature I was talking about. View life like as if it's a game with all these different levels that you need to try and achieve. When you play a game, like on Xbox or whatnot, obviously there is the anticipation of, well, I just need to beat this level to go to the next one, right? So you can experience all of the other levels of the game. You just need to beat the current level, right? That's what you need to do. View life like as if it's a game and see how you can beat your current level to rise to the next level. But then put that into a different spin. We're talking about frequencies right now, right? You're currently in this level of frequency. Okay, what is the higher vibrational frequency and how do I get there? Okay, so I need to not to be angry. Deal with your anger and then rise above, right? So if we just literally view life as a game, and every scenario that you come across as a level, it takes away the hardship of what you're going through and makes the next level a lot more achievable. Number 3, and this one is a little bit of a tough one that I've experienced, but I've said goodbye to my most recent fears. And the 2 main ones were control and vulnerability. I've said goodbye to the fear of not being in control, because you can only control what you can control, but you cannot control other people. I couldn't control my friend driving in front of that car. I couldn't control that driver choosing to buy a Jimmy instead of a truck or a 4-drive. I couldn't control that. Yet they did. And because they did, it saved my life, because it was a very small car that drove into me. I couldn't control my friend for maybe double looking or whatever it was to see that car coming, which in their defense, that car wasn't there. I didn't see the car, and then I did, and it was already too late. But just going back on that, I couldn't control that instance of them driving in front of the car. I could only control what I have control over. Everyone else, in every other life experience that happens to you, you cannot control. But you can control how you view it. And it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Do you see that shift? That's what you can control. Number 4, based on the vulnerability, I learned how to become vulnerable, which enabled me to speak my truth. Becoming vulnerable means that you operate out of such a safe and secure place within yourself. Even if you say, hypothetically, you become vulnerable with someone and you tell them, hey, you really hurt me here, right? You're creating a safe space within yourself saying, I need to tell them that they hurt me, but I know that I'm going to be okay regardless on how they react, because I trust myself. I know myself, and I know that I will always operate out of my highest good for myself. So you're operating at a very high frequency of self-love, becoming vulnerable and telling them, hey, you hurt me. But that also means that you speak your truth, because you don't care how people will react. You literally just say the thing that is on your mind. You say the thing that is hurting yourself. You're saying the thing that is holding yourself back from experiencing a really great life. Number 5, for my divine feminines, I learned from all of the above 4, which then led me into diving deeper into my feminine and just start having fun. And when I say having fun, not everything has to be so serious, obviously. If you want to go and do something, go and do it. You don't have to justify for you to go and do it, or, oh, I went to the gym like 5 times this week, so I can go out for a cheat meal with the girls on the weekend. No, you don't need to justify it. Obviously, yeah, you need to take responsibility for your actions and not always go on cheat meals or always, do the thing that goes against your own self-worth and your own self-values. But you don't need to justify or be serious about life and tell yourself, I can only go and have fun if I do this thing, right? No. If you want to do something, go and fucking do it. You don't need approval from someone else. You don't need to feel like you've gained the thing that you want to do. Just go and do it. And then this leads into the 6th thing, the main lesson of it all. Life doesn't need to be so serious, and not everything has to go to plan. Because let me tell you, it won't. Life will never end up the way how you thought it will, which makes it even better. And this just takes you back to the control thing, right? You think that, oh, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to, marry at this age, have children, I'm going to have 2 kids, a girl and a boy, and they're both going to be called this, and they're going to go to this school, and then that, and then that, and then that. Most likely that's never going to fucking happen in that exact order or in that exact way. So what's the point of being so serious and having all these rigid things and all these rigid routines of trying to do the thing that you think your head tells you that it needs to happen this way? Stop. Stop being so serious and have fun. My most recent thing is not like, for example, right? Us girls, going on a fucking date doesn't mean that date is actually going to be your forever man. I mean, look, it could potentially happen, but how many dates have you gone in the past and that hasn't happened, right? And this is not putting a downer on it. No, that's not what I'm trying to get across. What I'm trying to get across is just because you go on a date doesn't mean that you have to put all of these expectations on that date. Just go and have fun. Go and play mini golf. Go to the beach. Go and kiss a fucking stranger if you want. I don't care. Put your hair down. Bring out that playful nature, because that's what's going to attract your divine masculine. Let me tell you that. So this brings me to the end of the episode. What I want you to take away from this is stop taking life so seriously, because you never know when it's going to end, and you will forever live in regret over the things that you tell yourself that you can't do, or you can't do yet, or you don't want to do because you haven't done this yet, right? Stop putting all these limitations on yourself and just fucking live life. Just do it. That felt so cringe saying it, like literally the Nike logo. Just do it. Oh, You know what I mean? Just do it. Okay, I'm done. All right. Thank you for your time and effort of listening to me ramble on about my not so traumatic, but could have been traumatic experience, because I know it could have been so much worse, but it also was very, very fucking terrible. But thank you so much for listening and being here. And I highly value your time and effort that you've put into me, listen to my episodes, and I'm really going to try and keep the consistency up with these episodes. But like I've mentioned before, I've had a month. And I know I'm not trying to make excuses, because in my first ever episode, I've talked about responsibility and is taking responsibility for the things you're not doing. I know. And I'm trying to take responsibility. But I'm only also one person. And life's been serious. I've literally been in the gutter. I've been in the down low. Creativity has not been there. And look, we all go through these sort of time frames in our lives. You're not always going to be operating in the highest vibrational frequency. Like I said, you need to experience the lows to experience the highs. So I've experienced a low. I've learned the lessons. I've integrated it. I'm starting to integrate it a lot more. And yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I will keep you all updated on the life events. But other than that, I guess this is it. Hope you have a lovely day wherever you are, whenever this is. Drive safe. There are absolute idiots on the road, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.